to Africa Today Crime Channel. Do you know liking our video helps it grow faster? Please, today don't forget to like our video, subscribe, and share. Thank you.
Ejebu, a bustling town in Ogun State known for its peaceful farmlands and vibrant markets, is now shrouded in fear and grief. For months, whispers of disappearances haunted the community. Families paid ransoms, clinging to hope, only to receive silence in return. But on a storming day in June 2024, police unearthed the horrifying truth. Shallow graves hidden deep in a forest, and a sinister gang that thrived on blood, greed, and unthinkable cruelty. Today, we uncover the shocking case of Aralua, a young graduate full of dreams, and two others whose lives were cut short by monsters in human skin. This is the story of how darkness consumed Ejebu. The nightmare began in late 2023. On November 23, a 34-year-old man, Femi Ogunyemi, was at home with his family when armed men stormed in. They dragged him into the night, leaving his loved ones screaming and helpless. Days later, the family received a disturbing video of Femi, bruised, terrified, pleading for help. The kidnappers demanded a ransom, which the family quickly paid. But even after payment, Femi never came home. The silence that followed was more painful than any threat. Weeks later, the community whispered the unthinkable. Femi had been killed. His body, they would later learn, was buried in a shallow grave in the forest. Just a moment later, on December 31st, another life was stolen. Adekunle Ifelaja, a 71-year-old farmer, was kidnapped while tending his farmland at Oke Sokpe. The kidnappers sent a similar video to his family demanding money. His children pulled their savings and paid the ransom, praying for their father's safe return. But like Femi, Adekunle was never released. Instead, he too was murdered and secretly buried. At this point, fear gripped the people of Ejebu. Parents began keeping their children indoors. Farmers abandoned their land. Everyone asked the same question: who were these faceless criminals, and why were they killing even after collecting ransom? Amidst this tension was Aralua, a 24-year-old vibrant young woman who had just graduated from Olabisi Onabanjo University, previously known as Ogun State University, a public university in Ago Iwoye, Ogun State. She was bright, full of life, and ready to chase her dreams. Aralua's family described her as a beacon of hope, the first daughter, always smiling, always encouraging her siblings to study hard. Her graduation was a proud moment, not just for her parents, but for her entire community. On a quiet Saturday morning in early January 2024, Aralua boarded a public transport bus to visit her parents in Ejebu. She carried a small bag, some clothes, and a gift she had saved up to buy for her mother. It was supposed to be a joyful homecoming, but she never made it home.
So after we go for the back of Abusi, that is my first time to go there. When you carry the person go bush, when you begin to do the video, so as they kill the person, the thing come enter my body. That is why I no follow come for this Baba road. So yes, I regret that say I no even know say na the key person.
Aralua boarded what she thought was a normal commercial bus, a simple ride home to visit her parents, but unknown to her, every single person inside that bus was part of a deadly setup. It was no ordinary transport, it was a one-chance trap. The driver, sitting calmly at the wheel, exchanged quick knowing glances with two men seated quietly in the back. Chukuma Bartholomew and Igwe Monday, cold-blooded members of a gang that had been hunting unsuspecting passengers for months. As the vehicle moved along a lonely rural road surrounded by thick bushes, Aralua's fate was already sealed. She sat by the window, lost in thoughts, clutching her graduation bag tightly, a proud symbol of her hard work and bright future. But to the criminals, it was a sign of money, a sign that her family could pay whatever ransom they demanded. Suddenly, the driver slowed the bus, pretending there was a fault with the engine. Before Aralua could react, Chukwuma and Igwe pounced. One of them clamped a rough hand over her mouth, while the other pinned her arms to stop her from struggling. The remaining passengers, all part of the gang, looked on with cold indifference, sealing her realization that she was completely alone. There would be no help, no escape. The bus veered sharply off the main road and plunged into a narrow hidden path deep inside the bush. Aralua's muffled screams were swallowed by the night, her graduation bag falling to the dirty floor, the last trace of the life she once knew. For hours afterward, her phone rang endlessly in her pocket. Her parents, frantic and confused, called again and again, each unanswered ring tightening the knot of fear in their chest. By nightfall, there was only silence and two terrified parents praying desperately for a miracle that would never come. Deep inside the Ejebu forest was the gang's hideout, a crude camp made of tarpaulin sheets surrounded by pits that later became graves. Here, Aralua's nightmare truly began. The gang tied her hands and legs, taunting her as they recorded a ransom video. Her tearful face was sent to her parents through WhatsApp with a chilling message: "Bring 5 million naira or you will never see her again." Aralua's parents, though not wealthy, scrambled to gather the ransom. They borrowed money, sold valuables, and within days paid the full amount to the location or address given to them by the kidnappers. But these men were heartless. Even after collecting the ransom, they refused to release her. Instead, they subjected her to unimaginable abuse. For 2 days, Aralua was held captive, raped by members of the gang in turns, while her cries echoed through the dark forest. On the third night, the gang leaders decided she was a liability. She had seen their faces, heard their names. If freed, she could expose them. So they made a cold decision: Aralua must die. Under the cover of darkness, they led her to a pre-dug shallow grave. One member blindfolded her while another whispered prayers, not out of remorse, but as a twisted ritual before killing. They strangled her, and when she stopped moving, they buried her body, covering the grave with leaves to hide the evidence. The next morning, Aralua's parents tried to call her phone again, but like Femi and Adekunle before her, there was silence. By mid-2024, fear had turned into anger. The anti-kidnapping unit of the Ogun State Police launched an intense investigation on June 28, 2024. Their effort paid off. Acting on intelligence, officers raided the gang's hideout. A fierce gunfight broke out. 2 gang members were killed on the spot, while others fled into the forest. In the chaos, several kidnapped victims, including 2 Indian nationals, were rescued. Later, through painstaking tracking, police captured Chukwuma Bartholomew and Igwe Monday, 2 key members of the syndicate. During interrogation, the suspects revealed the truth behind months of disappearances. They admitted to killing 3 victims, Femi Adekunle and Aralua. Led by the suspect, the Commissioner of Police, Abiodun Olamutu, and his team journeyed deep into the forest. There, under the oppressive silence of towering trees, they uncovered 3 shallow graves. As the officers dug, the stench of death filled the air.
How much were you given?
So after that, after 1 week, now
how much?
They can't give me
How
150,000.
much did you collect from the victim's family?
Okay.
Yes.
How did this happen? Okay. Kidnap. When did you join the kidnap gang?
Kidnap is one of my brother. He's living here before, and my job here is fish pond. I'm doing fishery pond. So that my brother used to. I now located to Ebony. My role is that I should follow them to somewhere to rob. So when we went there, we kidnapped the man, After that, they lead the man inside the bush, so they will collected money from his family.
One by one, the bodies were exhumed, each telling a silent story of betrayal and pain. When Aralua's remains were lifted from the earth, even the most hardened officers turned away, unable to hide their tears. The discovery sent shockwaves through Ejebu. News of Aralua's brutal death spread quickly. Her graduation photos, once a symbol of hope, now circulated online as a heartbreaking reminder of lost potential. At her family's home, mourners gathered, wailing uncontrollably. Her mother, clutching the empty gift box Aralua had bought, collapsed as relatives tried to console her. Neighbors spoke of how she had dreamed of becoming a lawyer, of one day building her parents a better house. All of it gone in an instant. Farmers who once knew Adekunle personally also wept. Femi's family, still haunted by unanswered questions, felt a painful sense of closure but also anger, knowing their loved ones had been slaughtered for greed. The entire community demanded justice. The two captured suspects now face trial for murder, kidnapping, and sexual violence. Authorities are still hunting for the remaining gang members, while extra police patrols have been deployed to prevent further attacks. Commissioner Abiodun Olamutu vowed that the perpetrators would face the full weight of the law. But for many, no sentence can erase the trauma of Aralua's final moments. Her death, along with those of Femi and Adekunle, serves as a grim reminder of the darkness lurking in rural areas where criminals exploit isolation and fear. Aralua's story is not just about a life cut short. It is about a community betrayed, families shattered, and the urgent need for vigilance. May our memory and those of the others drive us to fight for a safer society where no parent must bury their child because of senseless greed. I am your host, and this was the haunting case of Aralua and the murder gang of Ejebu. Stay safe, stay vigilant.